Hi, this is Bob Papa, voice of the New York Football Giants, and this is the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast.
Welcome back, Giants fans, to this new series as it reaches its finale. Today is the last day of these, and please welcome my guests for this episode. Yes, that's right, guests. There are two. It's father and son duo, Jake and Kris Cartwright. How you doing, guys? You good?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, not bad, thanks.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. I know this one we've kind of pushed back a little bit and moved it around, but it's kind of nice to have this right at the end. So obviously by now it's not really a new series, it's just a series that we're doing with fans, content creators, ex-players, etc. So I say 5 questions, it's going to be more, it always is, and then a quick fire prediction round at the end. So I guess, Kris, we'll start with you. Since you're the elder statesman and as I've just found out, the person who started supporting the Giants first. So why the Giants?
Well, it's back into the days of the Channel 4, Channel 5 in the 90s. Babysitting my younger sister while my mum was out on the town. Thought, oh, what's this? Flicking through the TV channels, found a bit of NFL. Oh, New York's a little bit cool. Let's go New York, and away we go. So that was it. It was the Giants from there, and then unfortunately, I kind of got into it for a few years. That all worked fine. And then I drifted away in the kind of early 2000s, carrying on into other sports and things like that. And then missed broadly being the 2 Super Bowl wins. And then came back into the kind of abject mediocrity since then. So I'm not really sure whether I'm a little bit of a curse, because I missed the first 2 Super Bowl wins because it was too early. And then I've come back in now after the other 2, so I don't know whether I'm a bit of a jinx.
It's funny, isn't it? After all the years that we've had of mediocrity recently, that you miss the 2 enjoyable moments of being a Giants fan.
Yeah, that's 7 years of success was the kind of, that was in my early 20s, growing up, going out, that sort of piece. So then I got back into it with a few group of friends a bit later on.
Amazing. And then, Jake, for you, when did you start?
Yeah, so I knew my dad was into it, and I was always like the very typical kind of English person of it's too long-winded, it's too this, it's too that. And then I was quite big into video games and played Madden, and when it's quite fun on Xbox, I'll then go, I don't know who to pick as my favourite team when it loads up the game at the start, and when my dad's a Giants fan, so I'll go Giants. Then watched Super Bowl 2020, so it was the Bucs Chiefs one. Watched that and went, this is actually more enjoyable, and I've grown and grown into it to a point now where I'm fully devoted playing. I play flag American football on the side as well. So play that kind of low.
We both play flag, really. We play for the same team, so that's quite nice. When Jake scores some touchdowns, I can waddle up to where he scored them and celebrate, because I'm a centre, so I don't do a lot of running.
And what about you, Jake? What's your position in flag?
I receiver safety, so I flick between the 2. I'm quite tall, so I get put there.
That's quite nice about flag football, isn't it? That you get to kind of play both sides. You get to get an appreciation for both offense and defense in a way there. So have you been to any games yet? 2 of you, have you been able to watch the Giants at all?
Yeah. So I went. My first Giants game was the Rams game at Twickenham. Which was we were watching. I was showing Jake the other day exactly how dull that game was, but how wonderful it was to win. Obviously, the Landon Collins interception, etc. It's always good to win, but it wasn't exactly a game that will go down in history as a wonderful game of football. So we went there. We were both at the Green Bay game at Tottenham. We're Tottenham season ticket holders for the NFL, not for football, because that'd be bad. But yeah, we're season ticket holders down there, so we go every year down there. So we're both lucky enough to be there for the Green Bay game a couple of years ago.
It's weird, isn't it? That Twickenham game, you have such fond memories because of Landon Collins, and the rest of the game, I genuinely couldn't tell you anything else about it.
My overriding memory is there was about 4 or 5 of us down there, and there was 4 guys from New York in the row in front of us who'd come over first time in London. they were unbelievable in their love and passion and drive through the game. And one of our mates is an Eagles fan, and they just ripped him from the moment he turned up, the moment he left. Every single play, they were on him. It was brilliant.
Brilliant. I love that. We've been lucky enough to be sort of around a few American Giants fans as well. When we were at the Packers game, we were behind the end zone opposite the sort of wall, as I call it. And yeah, you're right. They're just another level. Like the passion that they have for the game, it is just great, and they make it more enjoyable, don't they? Just from being there. So, Jake, what was your kind of perception of that Packers game? Was that the first one you'd ever seen live?
It was, so that year was the first time I went to Tottenham and saw a game. So I saw the Tennessee New Orleans game. Minnesota New Orleans, sorry, the week before. And we had, I think, a family of 8 from New Orleans behind us. And that kind of was my welcome to the NFL moment, if you want to word it like that, of this sport is crazy. And when, nothing will top New Orleans. Them fans are insane that game. We've got the Giants next week playing the Packers on a bit of a high. We'll see how it goes. We got there, and I remember kind of getting to the end of the first half going, this is how this season, we were losing at half time, I think, or maybe just pulled it level, and we just didn't look in it. Jones had cut all his hand up, and you went, this game's just going to slowly slide away. And then kind of out of nowhere, I think we ran, Bellinger scored a double end around reverse, Saquon wildcat, and somehow came through. And
it was bizarre, wasn't it? It felt like a stadium full of Packers fans in the first half, and then in the second half they all disappeared, and it felt like a stadium full of Giants fans. I don't really understand where all these people were in the first half, because it was just a massive momentum shift.
And it's interesting because, like, going to the stadium that day, it was clear that the Packers were the better supported team by far. But yeah, they were very quiet towards the end. Thank God. So let's kind of move on to talking a bit about the Giants as a whole then. So Kris, last year was something. There's many a word to describe it. How do you sum it up?
So for me, the last 2 seasons have been a really good example of momentum and what can happen when a team gets momentum and gets on a bit of a roll. So 2 years ago, halfway through that first game of the season, I remember turning to Jake. We're at a mate's house. I said, look, this is going to be a long and tough season. We were losing to Tennessee. I think this is going to be hard work. And we turned that game round, and that got a bit of belief in the team. And they went through then, and we were turning short score games, kind of 4, 5, 6 points in our favour. And you get on a bit of a roll, the momentum kicks in, and the players are buying into it, and you turn a few more of those games, and it makes a swing of 5 or 6 games. Last season couldn't have been any more opposite. We kind of went in, there's a bit of like, okay, we've made the playoffs, let's try and build on it a little bit. We've got Waller in now, it's going to be good. And it was so bad so quickly from like just the first drive, and you're like having the block field goal, and then AT getting injured. It was so bad so quickly. I'm not sure how you recover from that. And then the injuries started kicking in. It was just momentum in the worst possible way all the way through the season. Did you
both stay up to watch that first game?
Yeah.
There's
a shared moment that everyone has, and there's kind of like a long look into the distance, and we do. Yeah.
I think it was that kind of that Daniel Jones where they had the first plays, and you went, look, we're down. It's Dallas. There's a chance here. We've had such a good kind of optimistic preseason going. We've now got Banks. It's good, and then you had that Saquon juggle into a pick six. I think every Giants fan, I think, not even just in the UK, across everywhere, just took a deep sigh and knew kind of what this season was going to come to, and then prevailed.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it many a time about being in the casino in Birmingham last year, 1 a.m. We had a Cowboys fan with us there because it was like a big meetup of loads of different fan bases. And you just instantly just wanted to turn it off and go to bed. But I think we lasted until about the third quarter, and we just went, I just can't do this anymore. It was too much. So obviously after that, we obviously get into the preseason of this year. It's been impossible to watch. Did you get a chance to see anything from Hard Knocks?
Yeah, so I've seen the first 4. I think you've seen quite a lot of clips, haven't you?
Yeah,
And
I've seen
things like
bits and
that.
whatnot.
So I really enjoyed Hard Knocks. I thought it was very interesting to get into the bits that we could see on it. I think there's a few rumours of road floating around a bit of music playing in the background that has took some of the more juicy stuff out. It's quite clever plays from some people there. But yeah, it was just, as a kind of a big fan, it was really interesting just to see the inner workings of stuff, because you don't see that, especially as a UK fan. You're not exposed to that kind of goings on in that operation day to day. So yeah, I really enjoyed geeking out on it a little bit. Did we learn a lot of things that we didn't really know from it? Probably not. But as a fan, I thought it was brilliant.
And then you also have like the little moments, like Dable thinking he can run a 40-yard dash in 7 seconds, which is not happening. I'm
And
sorry,
the
the
look people around the box at that point just go, Dave, no.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah. And now he's dropped a lot of timber now, hasn't he? So you never know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tay Banks turned around and said that he thought he might be able to do it now. So you never know. But
yeah, so we did our like combine for flag.
Oh yeah.
I had bad ankles, so a bit injured. But I kind of did it without knowing any kind of lower end 40 times. So looking at Dex, Leonard Williams was when he was a giant, kind of going. I think I ran like a 5.3, 5.4, and went. I'm probably about on par with Dex here. He's big. He ran like a 5, and it's just like you suddenly go, I'm way lighter than him, and he runs so much faster than me, and it's like this sport's almost insane. But it's that kind of that realization of I'm not particularly quick, but I wouldn't say I'm slow. And then you see kind of that different level it takes to go, you're 200 plus 300 plus pounds and you're running a 5. So it's just crazy.
That was one of my highlights of the Green Bay game. Was we're in this little bar in one of the corners of the ground, and I looked through the window as Dex came walking down the touchline. And I was like, he's a giant human being, and he was walking past a load of kind of little running backs and things like that. And I was like, he is a giant of a man. And everyone who walked past him was just smaller in every possible way. And that was one of my highlights of just understanding how big that man is.
It's funny. We were in the locker room after the Patriots game last year in New Jersey. We got to do the press and then were allowed locker room access. So we went in there, and it's very overawing for people who are not journalists anyway. But then to look around and see, as you say, the sheer size of some of these players. I mean, we were by Nacho, and he's a big man as well. And even Justin Pugh was in there, and he's bigger than I'm 6'3", and so like I don't look up at people very often. In there, it felt like I was constantly looking up at people. Kris, did you do the combine as well?
No, I was away for that day. I don't know where I was now. I was definitely away. I wanted to do the combine. I was very keen to kind of try and show up our quarterback on the quarterback skills and all of that. But I think my 40 would have been a considerable amount more. I think I'd have been struggling to beat Dave's number.
It's funny because we've been talking about doing a combine ourselves, and I keep saying to myself, I'd be happy to get 5, maybe 5 something. And now I'm definitely second guessing myself after Jake just told me what he ran. So the preseason's obviously come and gone. A little bit underwhelming offensively for sure. Defensively, a little shaky. We've obviously addressed that with the Dory Jackson. What are your expectations now going into the rest of the season?
Jake, go on. Catch like 2 balls and then he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Is what I thought. I think we watched bits of the Texans game, and you saw them kind of Malik here and there, and it's just, and then he had one on the sideline where he caught it and always did a 360 in the air, and you go, he could be special. And I think that's kind of, I've left the whole Daniel Jones threw a pick on his own 2, pick 6, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we'll leave that aside, but Malik Neighbors. And I think I don't want to get stuck in this. Neighbors is this. I think that Odell almost train that we had, or that you guys had, sorry, a couple of years ago. But other than Malik, I think the O-line looked better. I think there's no doubt about that kind of when we're in pass pro that it holds a little bit more than it did last year. I think seeing AT healthy and back will always help, but I just don't have hope for Jones, and I really wish I did, because I want him to be the guy. I think I like the way he works, like the way he talks. I think he's a good guy, but I just can't see past it.
You see, I want us to get back to the old school way of the Giants playing. I want to play big, rough, heavy defense. I want to see Kayvon and Burns smashing around the edges, everyone then having to double up that way, and Dex just come plowing through the middle and ripping quarterbacks apart. If that happens, you only need 20, 25 points. The offense has got ability. Neighbors is going to make plays. Jones will get him the ball, not perfectly, but he'll get it to there enough for him to make some plays. Wandale's going to step on. We should have enough to get 20 odd points a game. And if our defense can be what our defense needs to be, then we're gonna win some games in that way. But the secondary is still a bit unproven. I think we're in a stage now where we've got, if you sit down and go player by player, you can make an argument for most of our starting players being pretty good. And then you have to kind of check yourself and go, am I just being a blind Giants fan and it's all going to be okay? And we're gonna look past anything that is dodgy, or you go, no. I think we've got people are going to make a step. Tay Banks is going to make a step, and we've got Drew Phillips coming in, and Bobby Okereke is amazing, and it's there. It's all there to go. Actually, if we can stay mostly injury free, we could do okay. And then you get carried away with yourself, and you start to make wild predictions about being over 500, and you're constantly checking yourself because of what's happened in the past 4 or 5 years. But you've got to look positive. Now's the time of the season to be positive about it and go, look, if I can dream of being 10-7 and things like that, I can dream about that now. I can't do that when we're 0-4. So let's dream about 10-7 now. Let's dream about sneaking in a wild card berth and stuff like that. Now's the time for it. So I'm gonna live that for a bit before reality then checks me down.
Right. Let's do some quick fire stuff. So just the draft and free agency, yeah. Excluding Neighbours and Burns, because they're always going to be the two. Chris, I'll go you first. Who's going to make the biggest impact for the Giants this year?
The O-line, so Elamuno, and Van Roten to a little part, but probably more Jermaine. I think it's going to make a massive difference. Probably not having Evan Neal in the 5, unfortunately for him. But yeah, having a bit of protection, I think, is going to make the most difference.
Jake, what about you?
Other than the O-line, probably Theo Johnson. I think he's a different type of threat. And I think you look at kind of Giants of recent years, you had Waller, who was Waller. And then before that, you had Engram before he went to the Jags, who was Engram. So, I mean, it's kind of having Bellinger's look good. I don't think he's the guy. He's good where he is in that kind of backup role. I don't think he's the starter and where we want to push on. Theo Johnson coming out of Penn State looks like he can be a real threat and a real good late round pickup. So yeah, I think he'll push on this year and hopefully allow when Neighbours takes that kind of 70% of catches and defense have to start going there, you leak Theo Johnson out and it's making some yards.
Yeah, and he's an athletic freak as well. And if there's one thing that the Giants are susceptible against for the defense, it's giving up plays to tight ends, but we don't seem to be able to get one in there. You know, we've had some names throughout the years, probably since Bavaro, that just haven't performed for us. And it would be nice to get somebody who has that kind of Kittle, Kelsey explosiveness who can actually change a game. It'll be interesting to see how he does in pass blocking. I think that's going to be the big one. Bellinger took a step back last year, in my opinion, on that, but was good the year before. So it'll be good to see where we go there. Right, Jake, you first on this one. Most valuable Giant on offense come the end of the season.
It's got to be Neighbours. You can't not pick him. I think, aside my whole hype with him, I think you look at the offense and your playmaker. You can't look past Neighbours and how he's just explosive coming out of LSU. Even in the preseason, he's just looked different. Besides that, I love Jalen Hyatt as a player, and I think with kind of this speed, and I think you've seen so much in the preseason, that trio of Neighbours, Wandale, and Hyatt, and the whole almost like community those three have. I think it's they're there to push off.
Chris, how about you? You can give me offense and then give me defense as well.
Yeah, so it's hard to argue with Neighbours on offense, because if we're going to do well, it's going to come through Neighbours. He is so different and so much of a standout player that the beauty of last year being so bad is that we were high enough to pick a player of Neighbours' quality. And I like the fact they went that way over Adunze. I like Adunze. I think he's a really nice person and a really good player. But I think there's a dog in Neighbours, and I think it'll go down well in New York. So I like that. I'm going to say Neighbours. Defense, I just can't move away from my boy Dex. I just love him so much. So I'm going Dex to really make that step. I'm 24 in the top 100. I think it's his time to be really just absolute standout in his position, and get all the honours that go with it.
Yeah, I think with Aaron Donald obviously gone, I think that takes a lot of eyes off of him. And Chris Jones is very good, but I do believe Dexter Lawrence is better than him, and that could be Giants bias, but I think statistically he is as well. Jake, what about you? Defensive MVP?
It's hard to look past that trio on the D line, and I think even if you've got Dex and Burns, you've then got Kayvon, who I think is a little bit slept on coming into the season. But I'm going to move away from that and go for Deonte Banks. I think he's going to take that kind of. He's had a couple of years almost not in that center of attention with having a Dorian so high and a couple of other players. But I think him moving, and you see in the preseason, he's talked about Jefferson coming this week and gone, that's what I want. And I think a corner with that kind of confidence in himself to go, he's the best receiver in the league, I want him. And I think he's really going to push on this year, and we're going to see a big breakout year from the DB.
He's got to take that step, hasn't he, now, and justify the level of pick he was at and stuff like that. He's got to make that move.
Yeah, there's always a pressure on somebody who gets picked in that position going into year two. I tip my hat to him. To come in as a rookie and follow number one receivers around is a phenomenal thing. And let's be honest, he wasn't bad, but he does need to take the step. And I think Adoree returning actually really helps him in a way, because he will get targeted. They won't be picking on the other side constantly. So, yeah, iron sharpens iron at the end of the day. Right, Chris, surprise package. So the player that you don't, maybe we're not expecting a lot from, but by the end of the season, we're like, yeah, we needed him.
Yeah, who's going to be this season's Tommy DeVito, I suppose, is that question, isn't it?
Yeah, I always say Jason Pinnock. Jason Pinnock last season was the one that not many people saw, and now he's our number one safety. So
I think people might be surprised with Wandale Robinson. I think he might get the attention's going to go elsewhere, especially if the tight end starts picking up some plays as well. And I think he could be the person who moves the chains. Just short yardage, 5-6 here and there.
I think everyone's kind of watched Saquon go, oh, well, our running game's finished. But I think the answer is Devin Singletary, should I say. I think he's been a lead back and a number one running back for many years in the league. And everyone's kind of gone, Saquon's gone, yeah, that's our run game done. We've brought in some O-line pieces, some good guards, and gone, the running game's not there. As much as Saquon had that way higher level of explosiveness, Singletary is much more your generic type of running back, but that doesn't make him a bad player. Saquon will burst a 60-yard run every now and then. Singletary will get you 6, 6, 4, and suddenly you've got 2 first downs.
Dave did a bit of a dig in his press conference today about that, and he was asking him about Singletary, and he's going, "Oh, he's all 3 downs, and he can do all these different things." And you could just see he was digging at Saquon there, going, "You don't have to protect him. He can do this." You could just see he was going, "Yeah, I'm going to tick off the digs of Saquon on my first press conference."
I mean, we're recording later on, and I'm talking about the running backs. So one of the things that I've noticed about the trio that we have that I've really, really liked is downhill running. We don't see enough with Saquon. We just did not see enough downhill running for my liking. You could see it in the preseason that they're willing to get what I call the dirty yards there, and just picking up that 2-3 that makes a very big difference than, oh, let's cut outside the defensive players blown past the O-line, and now we've had a tackle for a loss and we're 2nd and 13. We've got to start passing, and they know what's coming.
Yeah, I think the biggest one was that draw we saw the long touchdown on in preseason, where suddenly he's gone to and he's just broke through the middle, sent one man, gone. It's not even just he was gone, and he's gone, took it all the way, and you go, that's the same juke move that Saquon's doing, but to do that, he's not had to run around the outside, beat 3 people. He's just gone straight up the middle, and there's a massive hole. And I think Saquon, as much as he was a good running back, that's where he lacked. He lacked that vision, I think, of there's a hole there, I can just go through it. And he tried to go, I want to be the hero back, and I want to hurdle this man and spin and here and there. This group is just, I'm going to take that chance that I've got and go.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing. I'd much rather see you juke a player out of his boots at 6 than juke a player out of his boots at -2. Now it's the big one. Now's the big one. Jake, I'll go with you first. This year's record.
I have hope, which is the hope that kills you. So come back to the start of the year, but I'm going to go with just below 500 at 8 and 9. And just come kind of 3rd in the NFC East. We're going to just miss the playoffs. But I think 8 and 9 is still a win for us. I think everyone I think we all got ahead of ourselves, especially as fans, going, we made the playoffs, beat the Vikings, and we're in the divisional. We're a good team. We weren't really that good of a team then. I think coming back to what you said at the start of momentum, we had momentum and go through it, and the ethos around that team and kind of what Shane and Daboll built was that momentum. They could carry it through. We lack in that last season. We're going to need to build it for this season. I think a season 8 and 9, good years from your likes of Banks, Cave on the D line, Neighbours especially, shows a really good platform to then push on kind of 2025, 2026.
Yes.
I've done my usual, backing us to win the Super Bowl. I've put my on healthies. I've been on the online bookie and done all of that. I always do that months ahead of the season. But realistically, I would really like to break 500. 9 and 8 would be a really big success for me. 9 and 8 and looking decent, moving the ball well, being big and bold on defense and making a statement there. You'd then sit there and look at the season on again and go, right, a few more players, a few tweaks here and there. We can then go. The danger of 9 and 8 is, what does that do with Daniel Jones? That's the bit I think the Giants are in this season. It's a good season. You've then got to make a tougher decision on Jones. A bad season, it's really easy because Jones has got everything in front of him now. We've got an O-line. We've got a decent wide out. It's there for him to make it happen. If he does make that happen a bit, but not MVP level and insanely, it's a really tough choice then for Shane and Daboll to go, where do they go with it? Because the pathway now is a really easy, protect him towards a little bit at the end of the season, cut him loose, take the dead cap, move on. If he does well and we look good and we go 9-8, something like that, it's a hard position then to be in. You've got some really tough decisions to make. They'll have to make it, but yeah, I'd like us to be 9 and 8 and get to the end of the season and feel good about it.
I think the biggest thing this season is winning close games. You look at last season, you had Jets and Bills, and I think it was one of the game around there. My mind's gone completely blank. You had the Waller at the back of the end zone. The Jets got the winning field goal, and if we can turn them games into losing 1 scores to winning 1 scores, getting the stop on D, winning that 2-minute drill before the end of the game, and go, the changes a record. If you have 3 games a season that are 1 score on average, and you can build that and twist that, and suddenly your record goes from your lower to your higher.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that I think we'd probably all like to see is maybe less blowouts. There were a fair few of those last year. Miami, Dallas twice. The Raiders game, which was horrendous. The first half of the Cardinals game, there was just too many of those. So keep it close and win the close games.
Yeah.
You don't want to feel like you've got up at 1 a.m. and by 1:45 you want to go back to bed. You want to be pushing through and going 3 and 4 is brilliant here because I'm into this, and I don't want to be thinking it's 1:45 and I've got work tomorrow. I want to be, I don't care about work tomorrow. I'm going for this.
So that's all the questions done. So thanks for joining me, guys. I really do appreciate it. Bit of fun before we go. If you're going to get a jersey this year, who's it going to be, Jake?
Kayvon Thibodeau. There's a funny story behind this. I was ordering a jersey. I say I was, my dad was, and I was debating between Hyatt and Thibodeau. Both. I loved Hyatt ever since he was at Tennessee. Ever since that clip of him scoring via Alabama, I'm hooked on him. And when we picked him, I was like, "This is amazing." But he wasn't getting many reps when I got the jersey, the throwback one. And when I'm going Kayvon, jersey arrived and it's got Hyatt 13 on the back. Now I don't complain at that because I love Jay and Hyatt, but I went, if I'm getting a jersey this year, it's Kayvon.
Yeah, it's a fair call. I'm not really sure what happened with that ordering on that, but there you go. So that same order point, I went for a Sexy Dexy throwback. So I went a Lawrence shirt. If I was getting one this season, I think I'd go JMS. I'd go proper out there. And I'd have a JMS shirt. The problem is I'm quite a big bloke, and walking around in a Hyatt shirt, it's just going to look weird because he's little and nippy, and I've got to go big. The Lawrence shirt looks good. The only other way I might go back and go Lawrence Taylor and just go full retro and just go that way. I think I probably would go Taylor and do the retro piece this year, but JMS is definitely in my mind. If he can push on a bit and be the player we want him to be, that might be another season on.
What about the Century Red jersey, Chris?
I don't dislike it. For me, I think mixing the various years is a little bit weird because then you end up with something that is a mishmash in of itself. I'd rather we gone, right, let's pick a year, do the uniform. I get it. I've seen on a couple of these, a few people have said, we've just got a blue shirt and you can't do a lot with just a blue shirt. And so it's a little bit of something different. The first time I saw it, I was a bit like, whoa, okay. But for an odd game here and there, to make the point around the kind of centenary and everything like that, I don't dislike it. The more I've seen it, especially the last couple of weeks, and that might be just me getting hyped for the season, I've started to quite like it. I've started to go, oh, could I go and get myself a Lawrence Taylor Century Red shirt? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I'd finally make that click and make that order, but I don't hate it.
What are your thoughts on Century Red?
I saw it when it came out and despised the thing. I think I might have sent it to you going, what the hell is this? And was just obviously get them in, but no. And then, I mean, a couple of Giants like fan groups saw people getting theirs arriving and went, okay, that's actually doable. But then I think it was the week that's kind of just gone, they started wearing the helmets in practice and they are gorgeous. Yeah. The blue, like the red spike, it's a stunning helmet. So if they just want to wear them helmets for the season, I'm in.
I think it might look better on the players in the game. I think it's one of those things. I bet in the flesh in the stadium, I bet it's not too bad. It's when you see the picture on a little screen, you're a bit like, oh, it jars a bit. But it's not green. It's not an Eagle shirt, so it's got to be okay.
Love it. Right. What a way to finish it. Viewers and listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. Obviously, please make sure to like, subscribe, all that lovely stuff. Kris and Jake are both pretty active in the UK Facebook group. So obviously, get involved with any conversations with them that you see throughout the season. But until next time, let's go Giants.
Let's go Big Blue.